It's War Dragon time. RPW here with another video to the Beginner's Guide to War Dragon series. Now, as you know, we are going to be talking about runes this month. I had planned on putting together, I think, like 5 at first, but a lot has happened. Now, before we get into today's video, I want to remind everyone that you can support my channel by clicking that subscribe button, liking my videos, and again, if you're not really thrilled with my video, feel free to put the thumbs down. And of course, don't forget to share this with other players, especially beginners, because this is going to help your team in the long run. Now, today's video, we're going to be going over runes and glyphs, and this will be a very detailed 4-part series on runes and glyphs, which is going to be very useful for a lot of those low-level players out there that are just confused. However, today we really are just going to be going over the very basics so that when we move along in the video, it'll be easier to follow for anyone that is completely new to the idea of what runes and glyphs are about. Now, the first thing I want to go over, though, before we get this started, where I have been, because I have gotten a lot of messages and emails, hey, are you okay? What's going on? So just really quickly to update everyone, I have 2 teenagers that are both in sports, that both have jobs, and a husband who's in the military. Very busy life. And of course, where we're located, we do not have any family and friends. So it's all, of course, falls on my lap. So putting all that together, along with all the stuff I do here on my YouTube and with my team, I get very busy. So in order to make it a little bit easier on me, I have quit my job. But I had a lot of catch up to do with the team stuff and with things at the house before I could get back into these videos. However, I am going to make it up to you by giving you guys this week double the amount of normal videos. So yes, you're going to be getting today's video, which was due last week or the week before, which is runes and glyphs, but I will be also putting out more on runes and glyphs later this week as well, and I should be coming out with 2 Atlas videos also. So be sure to stick around this week and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on things like that. Now let's jump into today's video. Now the series that we're starting today is called Runes and Glyphs. Now the first part of this series is going to be what are runes and glyphs, which is what we're going to go over today. And then later this week, base versus dragon runes, because there really is a big difference. And then thirdly, rune and glyph management. This is something that I've squeezed 2 of the prior episodes into, and then for best use of runes and glyphs in the end. So with the last one, it's going to be a lot more detailed, and I might even put out some, offers for you to send in a specific dragon that you would like information as to what you should put, on that dragon. So without further ado, let's get today's video started. Okay, so runes and glyphs are believed to harness magical powers, and in the world of war dragons, these also hold extremely powerful magic to help your base or your dragon with the strength or even its health. So it is very important to understand these, because these can really help you if you know how to use them properly. For example, if you put something like trebuchet resist on something that's got lightning resist, then it's not really going to harness anything for your dragon. Now, the rune below is a green colored rune, and this is the most powerful of all the magical runes in war dragons, unless they decide to bring out something a little more powerful later. Now, these are extremely powerful, but that also makes them the most rare for you to be able to get. So when you go into the events and you click on, let's say the runic chest, this will be the one you're going to see the least. Now you can earn these in, like for example, the events. Whenever you go to get a dragon, you can get this in their line as well. So these are very rare. You're not going to see these jump up very often for either side, whether it's your dragons or your base. So when you get these, definitely try not to waste them. You may even want to hold on to them until you know for sure what to do with them. Now, the runes, the stones, are not actually what is magical. The magical thing about this, the thing that's going to make it powerful, is the specific spell in them. Now, the spell is the symbol in which they actually have wrote into this. So if you look back at the history of runes and glyphs and people that use them and believe in them, it's not the stone that's magical, it's the spell that they've actually casted into it by writing specific symbolism on them. So we'll go over symbolism a little bit more in detail in a moment. Now, what happens when you're looking at all of these? Well, it becomes so overwhelming. You don't know where to begin. You don't know what goes to what. So one of the first things you need to do is learn how to sort these out so that you better can understand what goes to what. Of course, in your rune vault, you can actually use little things to change these up. But the first thing you want to do is look at what is a dragon rune versus what is a tower rune. Now, you can generally tell the difference because, for example, with the dragon rune, it's usually like lit up. You know, there are a few on the tower side that are lit up, but most of your tower are going to be more like stone-like. It's going to be more dull in appearance versus something for your dragon. Now, you cannot accidentally, for example, put a rune that belongs to a tower on a dragon or vice versa. It's not going to allow that. It's only going to show you what is available for that dragon. However, it doesn't say all these match your dragons. It just means all these can be equipped on your dragon because you've not, either A, you don't already have it equipped of that, level, or B, it does go on dragons. So we'll go over the spells so you know exactly what to do with that a little bit more in the moment, but let's go over how to put it into a subcategory. So now that you know, for example, all right, so I want something for my dragon, not for my tower, so I click and only highlight dragons. Then I can go into a subcategory. Now, on the top left, you can actually put in by rarity level, by type, or whatever. So one of the things is to understand that they do come by rarity level and type and spell. However, the rarity level is not sorted out properly in the game for whatever reason. So we'll go over first what the rarity level is, because I don't want you to get confused by what is sorting out in there, because I don't understand why it's messed up. But rarity level. So you've got your common, your rare, your epic, your legendary, and your mythic. Now, starting with the common are usually only going to be upgradable like once, and they will be very cheap when it comes to rune dust. However, the amount of power this is going to add to your dragon is very, very minute compared to something else. Now, the rare, of course, will have a little bit more cost when it comes to upgrade it. And I think it has one more level, of course, but with this specific one, it's going to be a little more powerful than the common, but a little less powerful than your epic. Now, if we jump up into the legendary, this will be a very expensive one, but this one isn't too rare. You will come across this one pretty often in comparison to the mythic, but it can be pricey to level up. However, this spell, when this rune comes into your life, make sure you put that on the right one, because this isn't one you're going to see too repetitively. Now, especially when it comes to the mythic, be very careful what you choose to put this on. Unless it's specifically for that dragon, like for example with Axie right now, she's got a mythic glyph that you can put on it that actually goes to her spells. So if it goes to that dragon specifically, there is no question to it, add it to that dragon. But if it's something that's more universal, you may want to look into that a little bit more in detail. Now, another thing about the higher level runes and glyphs you should know is they generally have more than one benefit. So for example, let's say you've got a mythic, let's say rage building. Then you might notice in that specific mythic glyph or rune, it'll say rage increase by 2.7%. And then it'll say something like, there's one that's cloak duration by this much percent. So you're not going to want to put that on something that doesn't have the cloak unless you don't need it on something with a cloak. So, because, I mean, in all reality, you're not going to be able to use both parts of that spell if you put that, let's say, on 4, unless you add the cloak spell to that dragon. So that is why it's very important to understand the rarity level, because if you don't understand that, for example, like I said, a legendary or mythic have more than one purpose, then you may just go with the very title of it as your usage versus what all it offers, because there will be something else deep in there that you might be able to find more useful on another dragon. Now, what about the difference between the shapes? Now, if you'll notice, the circular is actually the rune, and then the diamond-shaped one is going to be your glyphs. Now, runes are going to only be utilized up to 2 times on one dragon, and then your glyphs can be used up to 3 times on one dragon. So remember that whenever you're setting up your stuff. And then of course, let's say you've got a glyph and you're wanting to add a bunch of rage to your dragon. So you add a legendary glyph, rage building, and then you have another legendary rage build that you want to add to it. You're not going to be able to because it's the exact same spell, or I'm sorry, the exact same glyph as the one before. But let's say it's a legendary rage building and it has cloak duration added to it. And then you find a legendary rage building that has something like, for something out there, explosive shield as its secondary spell. Because they're technically different, you'll be able to put both of those glyphs on that one dragon. Now, I particularly put a legendary rage on my Ember so that whenever I do XP runs for higher level players, she lasts a lot longer. Just remember, there's the difference in the shapes, and that'll generally tell you the difference in these types. Now, symbolism. Symbolism is something that we've been using for millions of years. Even before we had written language, there was symbolism, like in the Egyptian pyramids. So symbolism is going to be extremely important in this, just like for an astrologer. For example, here we've got all of these symbols that allows an astrologer to read a chart without having to write out all of these letters. I mean, after all, for example, Uranus on here is a very long word, but if they can just utilize the symbol to this, then it's going to make it a lot more user-friendly. So that's going to be the same thing within War Dragons. So each of these different runes and glyphs will have a specific symbol. Like over here to the far right, hidden underneath, that little blue guy has like a mage tower on it. That is going to be a mage tower spell. So, and I'm not for sure, I can't really see it that well, but it's going to be one of your mages. So with that being said, you don't really need to know the exact specifics of what each symbol means, but it does kind of give you an idea when you're browsing through, okay, I know when I see that guy, it's going to be one of my mage towers. So it does kind of help you sort out quickly in your brain, but you will actually be able to see the exact information on these by reading the title. Okay, so if we go ahead and jump in and look at an image taken from some glyphs and runes here, you're going to notice that it actually has the title with that glyph. For example, we'll go to the middle left-hand side, Rare Cannon Resist. So if you're using the spell, it's going to go on something that already has a cannon resist, unless you plan to, of course, forge those spells to add to your dragon. The next one is the Mythic Glyph of Renewal. Now, if you'll notice, this one is on a specific dragon because it does belong to a specific dragon, just like the Rune of Storms and the Elemental Barrier. So, like I said before, there are going to be times that you're going to see that these spells are specifically designed for a certain dragon. So keep that in mind when you do put these on dragons. Okay, so you're also going to notice on the little top corner of each one, there's going to be little numbers. Now, these numbers are going to symbolize something. For example, if you see the crown on the top left, that means that that thing has been experted and it cannot go any further. And then on the middle area where it says Mythic Rune of Storms, it is a level 4. So it has not been completely upgraded just yet. Now, this is what I mean here when I said by rarity level. I've got it sorted out, but if you notice it's rare, then mythic, then common. Well, we know common does not belong above mythic. So you just kind of have to know exactly an idea of, well, common is at the very, very bottom. So just kind of remember the same goes with dragon tiers. It's going to be the same when it comes to your runes and glyphs. Now let's go ahead and jump in the game. Okay, so I want to take you guys into the rune building and go through this just a little bit more with you so you know exactly how to organize this. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is on the top right. This is where you're going to find your rune dust. It shows here that I have 3.07 million rune dust. The rune dust is what you will use to upgrade your items. Now, you can earn these not only in the events and chests, the silver chest particularly, but you can earn these by salvaging other runes. Now, you can go through and actually select one and delete it, or you could select multiple and then go through, and I'll go ahead and do one for you guys that's not very important. We'll find one. I mean, a lot of these aren't very important to me. Here we go. The Epic Cannon Frenzy. So if I click salvage all, it will only salvage the one that I actually selected. Now on the left hand side, it says order by. you can select by rarity level, and you can choose either top down, which again, if you notice, like it's not it's not sorted properly because this should be mythic, legendary, and then it should go down into, of course, your epic, and then your rare, and then your common. So it's not exactly correct, but as long as you have an idea of how that's sorted out, you're good. Now on the right hand side, you're going to find where it says normal versus glyph, building, and dragon. Now, as we said earlier, you're going to want to, of course, most of the time you're going to want to first sort out by, is it for a dragon or is it for a building? So I'm going to go ahead and click out the building, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm looking for something for a dragon. Make sure I haven't got something that I've forgotten to, of course, equip. So you'll notice all of these up here are equipped, right? If I scroll down, here's one, common hunter attack. This is a glyph that I could add to a hunter if I have, you know, an area for that. Now you're going to be able to tell if it's equipped because you're going to see right there on the bottom left hand corner a dragon associated with that glyph. So with that being said, let's say you're looking and you're like, well, I only had room for one glyph. I don't really have any room for, you know, for the runes themselves. So you can actually unselect normal, and this is going to give you the ability to just look at your glyphs. These are the diamond shaped ones. Now this is where you're going to be able to go and find things much easier. Same thing if it was for building, if you wanted to look at just the glyphs, or if you wanted to look at just your runes to see what you have. Now the other place you can look at that is in your dragon roster. So let's go to our new dragon Axie, which I still need to do some XP runs on today. If I click equip, it's going to be under the rune tab. Now you're going to see here there's a legendary rune of sparkles, the legendary rage, legendary wisdom, legendary hunter attack. Now on the hunter attack, this one gives you a secondary spell of fire, flak, tower resist. Now I don't think, I may be wrong. Let's look here. Change resist type and use it to da 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 da. I don't think fire flak is a part of that. And the reason I went ahead and utilized that anyways is because, you know, I really want to make this dragon as powerful as possible. And there's nothing else that I have that's a hunter that would necessarily be fire flak resist. So that is something that you can decide, do I want to hold on to it for later just in case? Or am I willing to really put that out now? So I chose to go ahead and use him. And I've left this last one, you know, free because I know that in the future, whenever I get to that specific point on my dragon, I'm going to be getting a better glyph in that chain than anything I have in there. For example, down here, the mythic spell rainbow. So I've left that free to add to him later. Now down here, I also have Erd. Now Erd, if I click equip, you're going to notice has nothing on him. Now for me, I used to try to go through and equip all of these dragons with something. But one thing I've learned is when it comes to the breedable dragons, until you get to your sapphire level, I don't really see myself ever using a lot of lower level dragons again, except for maybe for feeding events, except for one specific dragon, which is Ember. So when it comes to these lower level dragons, I personally do not equip them. I would rather trash it for the rune dust to help my bigger ones than to, of course, boost them with, you know, these glyphs. But that's completely up to you. That is a personal choice. You know, this game is yours. Play it the way you want. Now, for example, with, I said Ember, I do have stuff on him. Equip. Oh, this one isn't the one that has the legendary. It's actually my alt. So I have like a legendary glyph on my alt's account when it comes to his hunter. So Ember, again, I put as much rage stuff as I can as it comes up. Now, if you'll notice, rage generation at the bottom is a rare rage glyph. Now, even if I have one in here, it's not going to show it to me because I've already equipped a rare rage glyph. So I would either have to get an epic or a legendary or something that's, you know, even beyond that in order to equip another one down here. So you're not going to be able to put rare rage glyph, rare rage glyph, rare rage glyph, all of the same, because it's not going to allow that. It'll only allow one of each type. So keep that in mind whenever you think of these runes as well. Yes, they need to be different, they need to match, but remember, you can only do one per type. Now, outside of that, just make sure you understand how, how to find these and look for these. This way, whenever we go into our next video, which should be coming out, I believe Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. You'll have a better understanding of a lot of these and know exactly how to go through them with the next video. All right, guys, that is it on runes and glyphs today. Hopefully, the little bit of details that I've gone through today will help you prepare for the future upcoming videos in the series. And of course, don't forget to come in tomorrow. We're going to have Talk Dragon Tuesday tomorrow. And if you have not already turned in the autocorrect things you found or bloopers, be sure to do so because...
What did you say? Best chat bloopers in War Dragons. What?
That's right, best chat bloopers in War Dragons will be coming soon. Now, with the update, I know there has been numerous issues in our chat, so don't miss out on the opportunity to win that prize, guys. It is literally going out tomorrow, this video. So if you haven't got an image turned in yet, then you won't be up for a prize come tomorrow. I've only got 2 entries so far, so be sure to hit me up in Line, Facebook, or any of my other social outlets so that you can have a chance to win after being featured with your entry. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Don't forget before you leave to leave me a big thumbs up, and then of course share this video with all of the beginners that you might know, and don't forget to subscribe and of course hit that bell for notifications. Happy hunting!